Hi YouTubers, this is another Nissan T-31 X-Trail. This is my youngest son's, and as you can see he's over here playing with his phone while I'm doing all the work. The problem we've had with this one is the Wishbone rubbers here. This is the new one. These go, and you might as well buy a new arm, which you can get a pair of them delivered off of Iv'e. They're obviously pattern parts for under 50 quid. Obviously they come with a new ball joint as well, all the joints. You can see with this one, if I pull around a bit hard to show, but that joint at the back there in there, which is that one there, is pretty worn. And by the time we've got the wheel on, the whole thing wobbles around a little bit. So that's our mission for today. We've already done the one the other side. We've done the pair to do a proper job of it. Basically what you need to undo this, you want a 21mm socket, an 18mm socket, because most of the nuts seem to be 18mm. 21mm undoes the big bolts that secure this joint on, and these are tight. So we've got a 3/4 drive ratchet, 3/4 bar, and a 3/4 to 1/2 inch reducer. Not mentioning that one, Lou. And some long extension bars, because you've got to reach in there. You might better do this with a 1/2 inch breaker bar, a nice long one like this. You can get longer ones than this, but trust me, those bolts in there, down in there, the ones that hold that funny little ring joint on, are very, very tight. So that's the first mission, to get them undone. What I found it easier to do, this bar here, the drop link, to get a bit of movement in the anti-roll bar there, because it's in the way of that bolt in there. You can't quite get a socket on there, it's just sort of fouling, because you need to get the socket in there nice and square, because it is very tight. So I think that's an 18 and 19mm on there. So the first thing we're going to do is undo that, and we can drop the drop link off and get a bit of movement. Right, plan B. Little bit difficult to undo this one, because the one on the other side had an Allen key slot inside of the bolt there, so you could undo that. This one's solid, but as you're trying to undo that, the whole lot's spinning. So it's easy to undo the bottom piece here. As you can see, there's a hex on the inside. You can put a 19mm spanner on, and a 19mm spanner on that to undo it. Right, we've got the drop link loose now, out the way. So now we can get a bit of movement in the anti-roll bar, or as the Americans call it, a sway bar. Tool I forgot to mention, nice long jemmy bar, lever bar, what we would call it. You put it in there, pressing underneath there. As you see, you can push it down, and you can get nice access to the socket. A big long extension bar on there. I'm going to swing on that there. I'm going to try it with the 1/2 inch bar, but I don't hold a lot of hope out. I think the 3/4 might be coming out with a big piece of box section on the end of it to give us a bit more leverage. Well, the first one came undone quite easily, which is a surprise, because the previous one was very, very tight. But we'll have a go with this one. Oh, he's not too bad at all. I would suggest these have been changed at some point in the past. So now it's loose, we can put a 1/2 inch drive ratchet on the end of it and wind it out. Well, because I'm lazy, I've got my finest Aldi nut runner. Let's tighten it up. And out he comes. No, a bit looser, a bit more. Bolt out, do the same on the other one. A little bit of bar down, out the way. Of course, you don't need a nut runner, but it makes life easier. Right, that's those two back bolts loose. It's all wobbling around now. Now we've got to undo this one. I'm now going to undo the flexible joint in the back of the wishbone. These are 18mm spanner on top, 18mm underneath. I just tried to move it while filming, but no good, so we'll hang on a minute, just pause. Right, what I've had to do to get the nut off the top, you've had to use 2 spanners, and you can put them together like as you can see. I know somebody's going to make comments and say, oh, you shouldn't do that, and you know, and all the rest of it. It's like people say you shouldn't hit spanners with a hammer. Well, they wouldn't make hammers otherwise, would they? Sometimes needs must, and if you round off a nut, you can go and get another nut. And spanners, at the end of the day, they're not very expensive if you break one. The important thing is you don't hurt yourself. Yeah, my little technique did work. Now it's loose enough, so you can then do it from the bottom using a socket, especially if you don't drop the damn socket off. Like so. Here's the wishbone all off now, that bolt out, those over there out. Now we've got to take the bottom ball joint off, which is usually the most fun thing in there. We've got an 18mm spanner, ring spanner is good. Lidl's finest, 5 quid a set, does the job. Right, breaker bar on the other side, crank away Lou. Wrong away Lou. Right, I think we'll have to strain a bit off camera because I can't hold the camera at the same time. We are going to undo the bottom ball joint nut. Got the bar on there, there's 18mm spanner, 18mm half-inch drive socket. Put the camera down so I can't strain with the camera in my hand. Right, we've got the bottom ball joint out. Necessary tools to do this: the old jemmy bar, and big lump hammer. The thing you're not supposed to do, you're not supposed to cut your thumb in the process, but I did. But it's off. I mean, normally you've got to beat these things pretty hard to get them out, but as you can see, another reason why we decided to change this, because that we had changed the ball joint on the other side, but this one's not very good either. MOT's coming up. Comparison, you can see the movement in the old split parts. And you can see the splits in the rubber there, and contrast it with the new joint. There's still flexibility in there, which it needs to be. And if you look at that joint back there on that one, it really is pretty well had it in comparison with this. That's where a lot of the movements come from. So if you're getting a problem with your retro, with the wheels wobbling backwards and forwards, that's probably your problem. Like I say, this ball joint is pretty well had it. The new one is as tight as a drum in comparison. So the next thing now is put it all back together, and as they say, assembly is the reverse of disassembly. So we put the new wishbone in position. I've popped that bolt in loose. I've got this one down here, can't see it from the angle. That one loose as well. I haven't put that one in yet. Next thing we're going to do is get the ball joint in. Push that in, Lou. No, this. Right. Got that started. What I'm going to do, I'm going to tap the arm here, not on the end of the ball joint, but on the arm there, with a copper mallet, and just tap it up in, and then we put the bolt back in, and we put all the other bolts back in over there, and go around and tighten everything up nice and tight. Probably a torque wrench setting, as somebody will point out, but good and tight with all of it is very important. Obviously it's a great safety thing here. And also put the drop link bolt back on. Clip these are the wires that go to the ABS sensor, which is on the back of there. Clip them back in, because I unclip them to get them out of the way. So it's tighten that bolt, tighten that bolt, tighten that bolt, tighten the bolt on the bottom of the ball joint, and tighten the drop link, and the job will be a good one. Right, here we are with it all together. All the bolts are tight, that's tight, that's tight, that's tight, and so is the ball joint ones in there, all very tight. Drop link bolt tight. you know, it's one of those things really that you've got to go around, double check, even triple check things, because really your life does depend on it. If it's your car, you know, suspension bolts, they got to be tight, and if there's any doubt about the condition of the bolt, you're going off and you're getting a new bolt, and you are getting proper high tension, high tensile bolts, not just any old bolts from the hardware store. You know, any doubt about them, if they're severely corroded or you've had to batter them to get them out or whatever, you've got to go and get new ones. I mean, you can sometimes order these Wishbones as a kit with new drop links, a whole set with all the bolts as well, which may not be a bad idea depending on how corroded all your stuff is. I mean, this one's not too bad. So anyway, that's that job done, and I'll see you on the next one.